How's it going, everyone? Today, we are super excited to bring you all the craziest new builds that Korean pros and high elo players are abusing in 11.2. Be sure to take advantage of these builds before they become meta, so you can have the edge on your opponents and collect some of that sweet free low. For more videos just like this one, don't forget to hit the sub button and let us know in the comments if there are any new builds you've been playing recently that you think we could have featured. So, with that being said, let's get into breaking down those builds. Over the past patch or so, we've seen a massive rise in the priority of Stridebreaker on both Gnar and Volibear. The majority of low elo players are still purchasing Divine Sunderer on Gnar and Frostfire Gauntlet on Volley. The Stridebreaker build is being spammed by so many Korean pros at the moment, most notably by one of the best top laners in the world, Nuguri. After the Gnar buffs last patch, he's seen such a massive rise in strength and priority. Throw Stridebreaker into your build path and he becomes even stronger. The item active allows him to extend his engage range, giving him easier access to find those mega Gnar ults on a regular basis. As for Volibear, the item performs well on him for the exact reason it does great on Darius and Garen. Volley's main weakness is being kited and not being able to reach his targets, but with Stridebreaker, the sticking power is just super broken. The full build for Gnar is a Stridebreaker rush into Sterix and then Deadman's Plate. For Volley, following the Stridebreaker rush will be Sterix and the newly buffed Gargoyle Stoneplate. Ever since the Lucidity Boots buffs from 2 patches ago, lots of pros have been abusing the item on so many different picks. Lucidity Boots are especially strong as a snowball option when you're ahead early, since having your cooldowns up more often allows you to play way more aggro. A really underestimated aspect of the boots is that they provide you with 12 Summoner Spell Haste. This just adds another layer to your ability to press an early advantage. We'll give you guys a bunch of interesting champs you probably wouldn't expect to see them on. For top lane, Nuguri has been abusing them on Aatrox. Lonely has been using them on Camille, and although he's not a Korean player, Bwipo has been spamming them on Riven. All 3 of these champs are spellcasting bruisers, so Lucidity Boots make a ton of sense to amp their dueling power. As for jungle, Clid has been running the boots on his Olaf and Kha'Zix, and Canyon has been liking them on Kayn. For mid lane, we've seen Showmaker having great success playing Zoe and Kiana with Lucidity Boots, along with Maple spamming them on Galio. All in all, if you're popping off early game and want to have the ability to pressure your opponents even harder, these Lucidity Boots are now great on all the champs we mentioned. With Chemtank receiving a price reduction this patch from $3,200 down to $2,800, it's becoming a hot commodity on many different tank picks. To many's surprise, Chemtank Udyr was pulled out in pro play and is being spammed right now by lots of pros since its debut. Yosik, the jungler for DRX, pulled it out and had a perfect scoreline going 2-0 and 18. The full build is Chemtank into Deadman's and then Lichbane third. The build just gives Udyr way more viability with the immense power of move speed and engage power. It becomes even more disgusting if you take Ghost combined with Phase Rush, as you'll be zooming faster than a cheetah on steroids. For the skill order, put a point in Q at level 1, and then don't level the ability ever again. Proceed to max your R out first, E second, and W third. Phoenix is the stance prioritized ever since the buffs it received a few months ago. A couple other picks performing much better with Chemtank for 11.2 include Cho'Gath, Mundo, and Alistar, so you should be looking to rush it on all of them as well. For the past few patches now, many high elo Korean Shaco players have transitioned over to building full crit. In this patch, a Kraken Slayer rush with the Collector second and Infinity Edge third is performing super well, combined with the Hail of Blades as your keystone. In previous patches, Gale Force was by far the best rush item for Shaco, but with the nerfs it received for 11.2, it opens things up for Kraken Slayer to shine. The synergy with Hail of Blades and Kraken Slayer is super nutty, since you'll get a near instant proc of the true damage burst from Kraken Slayer due to your 3 fast autos from Hail of Blades. Once you hit your mid-game spike of Kraken and the Collector, you'll be one-shotting squishies from stealth before they can even figure out what just hit them. A new LeBlanc build Yucal's been popping off with is a Night Harvester rush with Archangels as the second item. The standard build of Ludens leaves LeBlanc rather squishy, whereas by going Night Harvester, you give yourself some extra tankiness. Since you'll be missing the mana from Ludens, you grab a tier on your first base, pick up Archangel second, and you're all set. We went into Practice Tool and tested the damage output of a standard Ludens into Zanya's build versus the Night Harvester Archangels, and the Night Harvester build won out. Not only will you have more damage at 2 items, but your mana pool will be so much larger due to Archangels, allowing you to stay on the map and side lane so much better. Of course, you are losing a bit of survivability without the Zanyas, but if you really feel like you need it, then you could delay your Archangels until 3rd. Yukao's full build was all-out Chad, with Night Harvester into Archangels, and then Rabadons to finish it off. Runes were Electrocute, of course, and then Inspiration Secondary, which is very underrated at the moment. Taking Biscuits and Time Warp Tonic, combined with Corrupting Pot Start, helps to bolster your early game. A new build really emerging throughout 11.2 for Katarina is the Rocket Belt Rush into Lichbane. We covered this one last patch, but wanted to reiterate that its strength becomes even greater now due to the Kraken Slayer nerfs. The win rate of Rocket Belt versus Blade of the Ruined King as rush items were almost identical in previous patches. However, that's changed drastically now with Rocket Belt winning an astounding 10% more. The reason the belt build can work so well on Cat is due to the catch potential and added mobility it provides. Being able to dodge out on skill shots without having to use your E, or just running right at the enemy and chasing them down when you're ahead, adds another layer to Cat's snowball potential. The added health is a big upside to Rocket Belt as well, giving you some added survivability against Burst. The complete build will be Rocket Belt into Lichbane, and then Zanya's 3rd. As for runes, make sure to run Electrocute. Almost all Cats have swapped over to this now when building AP. The stats for Conqueror vs Electro are actually pretty insane for this patch, with Electrocute winning a whopping 10% more than Conqueror in Korean high elo. Fresh off his buffs in 11.2, Assassin Nocturne mid is back. The build is a Duskblade Rush into the Collector 2nd and Black Cleaver 3rd. His Q on a 2-second shorter cooldown gives him even stronger perma-shove, and then the ult being on a 10-second lower cooldown allows him to threaten roam plays a little bit more often. Traditionally, Lethal Tempo has been Nocturne's best keystone, but when you're playing in mid, go all-out burst with Electrocute. Duskblade, the Collector, and Electro proc tacked on will make your one-shot disgustingly strong in the mid-game. The Invis from Duskblade is super nice on Nock as it allows him to be a little bit more shifty in fights and gives him the ability to escape after he's taken out his target. He's a really solid pick for this patch into other assassins like Fizz or even a fighter like Yone. The spell shield Nock has with his W allows him to negate a big chunk of those champs' damage and gives him a ridiculous 1v1. Like we predicted in our 11.2 tier list video, Varus has started to see so much more success after his ult buff this patch. Many players had been using the lethality build in previous patches, but full crit Varus is where it's at now. Kraken Slayer has shot up in priority for 11.2 and is winning a ton as the rush item over in Korea. Despite the Gale Force nerfs, it can work just as well if you want that added mobility. It just comes down to preference and what you think is best for the game. Hurricane buffs from 2 patches back are also another big reason for crit Varus becoming way stronger. You pick it up 2nd and hit a really solid 2-item spike. Round it all out with an Infinity Edge 3rd, and this build actually makes Varus a top tier pick now for this patch. Make sure to take Lethal Tempo as your keystone with Domination secondary. A really interesting build here for Senna in the carry role played in high elo to start off the patch is an Essence Reaver Rush into Kraken Slayer 2nd. It's only being played in Korea so far, but as the patch progresses, we wouldn't be surprised to see it spread to other regions. With the Essence Reaver buffs here in 11.2 giving you more mana back on proc, rushing the item has actually turned out to be the best performing option on Senna. The mana back proc now scales with AD instead of max mana, which is perfect for Senna since she acquires so much free AD from her souls. You might be wondering, well, wouldn't Kraken Slayer be kinda troll for Senna since she can't proc it very fast? Well, you'd actually be wrong there. Since Senna Q applies on hit effect, it gives you a stack of the Kraken Slayer passive. This means with a quick auto Q auto combo, you almost instantly proc that Kraken Slayer for a lot of burst. Glacial will still be the best keystone to run for this patch. All in all, the traditional Manamune rush into Eclipse can still work great too, but this new build provides you with insane damage and puts a fun yet strong new twist on the pick. A new build we're starting to see really emerge on tank support picks is Deadman's Plate. Rel is one of the best users of this new build, and like we expected, has even shot up to holding down the 2nd highest win rate for any support in 11.2. It looks very likely we'll be bumping her into the OP tier for 11.3. Beryl, the support for Damwon Gaming, has been the most notable advocate of this new build, spamming it out on his Rel. The full build for Rel is Deadman's, followed by Locket, and then Knight's Vow. Deadman's is also a top performer on picks like Galio and Set. It works a little better slotted in as a 2nd item on these 2 picks though. Shrelia's into Deadman's for Galio, and Chemtank into Deadman's for Set. These item combinations make engaging so much stronger due to all the move speed they provide. You're also getting a ton of armor from Deadman's too, so against a heavy AD comp, the build becomes even more valuable. Alright guys, that's going to be all for our first installment of the new OP Korean build. We'll be keeping an eye out throughout this patch and have some more awesome builds cooked up for you in 11.3, so make sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next one. We appreciate you guys, thanks so much for watching, and we'll catch you in the next video.